What is a dead giveaway that someone is creepy or a weirdo? They are pushy and don't respect boundaries. Come on, lighten up, just sit on my lap for a second. Where's my hug? I hate give me a hug, ASMF. Met a girl through class. She immediately became very attached and asked for my apartment key the second time we hung out together, which was about 1 week apart. We're both girls and we literally hung out twice. What the fuck? Wow. Yeah. This is such a blast from the past, and I just now texted my roommate at the time to reminisce about this weird experience. Thinking back, I think the girl was lonely. She's an international student from Korea but not sure how long she's been in the US, and the first time we hung out, it was a study session that ran very late and she slept over. I think the second time we met up was for another study session, and that's when she asked for my key. In her head she was probably trying to be sarcastic, "You should just give me a key to your house with how much we have to study," and cringes looking back on it to this day. They make comments that are absolutely out of line, like sexual or violent comments, like it's normal. It's one thing to joke, but you can just tell when someone is being serious. We call those Schrödinger's douchebag. They decide whether they are kidding based on how everyone reacts. There's a lot of this on the internet. How many times have you seen someone say something offensively serious and then turn around and say, "Jesse, it was just a joke," when they get a bunch of negatively reacting to them? My wife had a male coworker that built a diorama of one of her female coworkers being eaten alive by a tarantula. He then thought it would be a good idea to show the diorama to her and other coworkers. Management found him a job at another company rather than firing him. My wife and her coworkers were relieved that he was gone, grateful that he wasn't likely to consider his separation antagonistic, but worried about his future coworkers. Not really a universally applicable sign, but definitely an unambiguous sign. Bruh, just the idea of building a diorama of anything sounds fucking exhausting. That's goddamn nuts. Maybe I'm a weirdo, but if someone made a diorama of me getting eaten by spiders, I might not be mad and even impressed. Depending on how good it was. They don't understand personal space. The worst is when you take a step back from them and they keep filling in that space. I have a coworker that does this. I started backing away at an angle, and slowly leading him in circles that I made a game out of it. My record was 3 full rotations, before he noticed what I was doing. He wasn't amused. I, however, was very amused. I do this with my boyfriend when he's on my heels at the grocery store. I think he has unhealed trauma from his mom leaving him in a Walmart or something. I do it in a silly manner though, just enough to get him to notice what he's doing. They constantly have interactions where everyone else is completely crazy. Normal people don't get banned from Costco, spit on gas station attendants and get tossed by the cops. If this shit happens to you, you're probably a creepy weirdo. And yes, I'm sure all of your ex-girlfriends were the problem. My god, this sounds exactly like one of my coworkers. It is intense level of delusion. Yeah, I had a coworker who said that he basically got into a confrontation while driving with someone pretty much every week. He was legitimately confused when he realized he was the only one, lol. He refers to himself as an alpha male. That's a red flag among red flags. I introduce myself as a betta fish. I start fights all the time and I can breathe air. Feed me shrimp pellets. Chris Hansen asks them to have a seat. I once saw Chris Hansen at an airport bar, and since he appeared to be unoccupied, I approached to confirm and possibly commend him for his work. He received me graciously and explained that he was waiting out a 2-hour delay and wouldn't mind my company or conversation. So he invited me to take a seat. I don't remember what happened next, but I'm posting this from jail. I love misdirection. This comment is great. If they have absolutely zero personality outside of sex. I had a friend like this. After a while, it got kind of weird and boring. I met a girl like this about a year ago. All she ever talked about was the sex she was having with other people. Before anyone says I was missing an obvious sign, nope, I clarified, she got offended that I asked. She just liked talking about sex with anyone who would listen. We don't talk anymore. Her inability to talk about anything besides sex or Taylor Swift did me in. Adults begging children to give them a kiss or a hug despite being told no. Adults taking pictures of children after being told no. My wife's cousin, everybody, my daughter asked her to stop taking pictures of her. I told her to stop, more forcefully, as well. She took a picture of me telling her to stop taking pictures of my daughter. Then she dumped all of the pictures on Facebook where she has over 1K friends, most of whom aren't family/people I would be comfortable sharing pictures of my kids with. My grandmother once told me that when she was little her dad would try to take pictures of her when she was in the bathroom, and how she would scream no and struggle to keep the door closed, but he would succeed in getting the door open and take the pictures. I was like 5 when she told me. It didn't sit right with me then, but I didn't realize until years later just how awful and disgusting that was. Where's my hug? How about a smile? You look so much prettier when you smile. I winced reading this. When I was a teenager working fast food, there was an old guy who looked me dead in the eye. Took his index fingers to either side of his mouth and pushed them up to make the creepiest looking grin held up by his fingers, but said nothing. There was a glass pane between us so the customers had full view of us working. Literally felt like a zoo animal sometimes because of entitled creeps like him. You walk past them as they are looking at their phone and see they have a picture of you taken from across the food court of you unhinging your jaw to take a bite of a burger. This is awfully specific. You okay, OP? Still alive and haven't seen them since that moment, so a tentative yes. They tell you who you are and what you like, and if you stand up for yourself they gaslight you and try to play games with your boundaries to break them down. This one feels so personal. Had an interaction with someone like this a while back. I had this to a lesser extent. Had this good friend when I was figuring out my sexuality because I found that I was attracted to this guy, who was also around the good friend because we were a group of 3, who is now my fiancé. Anytime I would talk about what I thought I was, that good friend would be like, no, you just want to be like us, or if I said I liked something and he was surprised I liked it, he would be like, no, I don't think you do. Such a dickhead. Sadly, me and my boyfriend let him move in before we realized what an asshole he was, but we eventually had him move out and haven't talked to him in over 7 months. Grown men who tell teenage girls that they're mature for their age. Aw man, I said this once to the mom of twins and I still cringe thinking about it, but I genuinely meant it as a compliment about a kid I used to babysat 10 years ago. The twins are so well-mannered and smart for their age, not that I would want to date them. Either way, I won't use that phrase again as I see what some use it to mean. Huge difference between telling the parent and telling the actual kid. Even then, if the kids just said something profound, or acted far more sensibly than one would expect, you can probably get a pass for calling them mature. Anyone who tells young kids things like, you're gonna be a heartbreaker, let me know when you turn 18, I bet your parents are chasing them away, etc. I have heard enough older women say these things to my little brother and it was always weird. In high school I had a teacher call me jailbait. That goes right up there with waiting for someone to turn 16 to 18. Attempts to isolate you from your friends. Or to take you out of public space to go somewhere alone with them. I have this family friend who was always trying to arrange one-on-one time with my younger teen sister for anything she expressed interest in. Wanted to teach her how to drive, give piano lessons, etc. Finally called him out on that shit and told her to keep her guard up. But everyone loves him so can't completely distance him away. When they passionately discuss their collection of vintage Barbie dolls, which they claim are haunted, while offering to show you their extensive shrine dedicated to Nicolas Cage in their basement. This is, oddly specific. You okay over there? Do you need backup? They're GTG, now if they had said Steven Seagal, we'd have to suit up.